All right, what's going on? That was not the intro video I meant to play, but we played it anyways. This is Unadvised here on the Sports Animal, YouTube, Facebook, and our very own X account at Unadvised Pod. Give us a follow at Tyler's Takes on X, at PrestonPool405. Special episode for you guys today. We just wrapped up with Matt Ravis. That'll be later on in the show, doing a little fantasy football talk. Not so much like drafting or anything like that, but kind of getting a sense of how he feels about some of the players heading into this fantasy football season. Teabag, we are coming off of just an absolute blowout in Stillwater last night for Oklahoma State as we record this on 7 o'clock on the dot on Wednesday. So we don't know what the results are, but we're assuming Oklahoma State just wiped them off the field.
I can't believe Haas Haney ran for 150 yards and St. Flor's 3 for 300. Like, wow.
Yeah. And what's crazy is they were both out on the field on that one drive, you know. Yeah,
Haas Haney playing running back that one play was something.
Mike Gundy was in his bag last night, for sure.
Letting out all the tricks before Oregon.
Obviously, Oklahoma playing Illinois State. A bunch of other good games. We're going to talk about all the Saturday games that are of importance and the ones on Sunday as well. Let's just get into it. Number 18, Oklahoma is hosting Illinois State. For me, I tried to find a line on this, and I honestly only looked on ESPN, so it might be somewhere else, but there wasn't even a line on this game.
35.
Okay, so Oklahoma's around a 35-point favorite in this ball game. What I'm going to be watching, Teabag, is the offensive line. Yep. Because we saw in that first game last year, what was it, Temple in game one last year in Norman, that offensive line got pushed around by Temple, who was one of the worst teams in college football. I will be watching that offensive line to kind of see what that looks like and, you know, is what it could be for a sign of what's coming later on in the season.
Yeah, I mean, I remember watching that Temple game last year, and I mean, I know still Southern Illinois is a FCS program, but they're a top 5 team heading into the season in the FCS rankings. And Temple was last year was one of the worst teams in all of FBS. So I don't know if the talent gap might be a little different, you know, but I don't know if the team gap is going to be all too much different. So yeah, you cannot give up any pressure against the Southern Illinois team. You know, try to go for 0 sacks with the starters in the games for sure. That is question number 1 for this Oklahoma Sooners football team, is that offensive line. Because if they can block, John Mateer, I believe, is a very talented quarterback who can make things happen with a little bit of help, with a little bit of protection. Try to get a run game going this year for the first time, and you know, since really kind of a Britt's tenure, maybe have a consistent run game. So that'd be obviously an important factor. I think we know what the defense is going to be. I think OU could score 10 points tomorrow. And if that defense was really giving it their all every single play for 4 quarters, I think 10 points could possibly be enough to beat this team. I'm pretty high on the defense for the Sooners this year. I know there's a couple injuries, like Eli Bowman and Robert Spears Jennings, I believe, is out as well. But nonetheless, I think we all know what the defense is going to be. We're all pretty confident the defense is going to be good. But like you said, Preston, offensive line, that's a thing I'll be watching at 5 p.m. on Saturday.
And wanting to see, you know, like receivers and stuff like that, because I mean, outside of Deion Burks, which we only saw Deion Burks for a handful of games last year for Oklahoma, a lot of these guys you've never seen them play for the University of Oklahoma. So getting to see those guys and kind of what they look like. My biggest thing is how many running backs are going to get carries in the first half. Like, I don't care what happens in the second half, because I'm assuming the game's going to be already over with at halftime, right? I want to know how many running backs are getting carries in that first half, and where does Jaden Ott slide into that equation, right? Is he going to be, like the depth chart says, the 3rd running back off the bench for the Sooners? Or is, you know, Javonte Barnes going to get the start, run a couple, you know, have a couple run plays, and then Jaden Ott goes in and you know, carries the ball for the Sooners? Because I would assume, and I think this is what a lot of us think, is that once Michigan rolls into town, Jaden Ott's going to be the starting tailback.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the three running backs, the 3 primary running backs. Javonte Barnes will I'm confident that he's going to get the first rush of the season, the first carry of the season. Then you got Torrey Baylock, who's everything we've heard, Preston. He's had a great fall camp. And then obviously, like you just said, Jaden Ott. So I think it'll be those three guys. Maybe you get an Xavier Robinson carry in the first half. But I'm going to venture to say it's going to be those three guys that we'll see more. Xavier Thompson is Taylor Tatum. Is he hurt? Is he healthy?
I believe he's injured right now.
So yeah, Xavier Robinson, and then some walk-ons. Primarily in the second half would be my.
And you would hope that none of the top three are in the game come the second half in Norman on Saturday. So, and then the last thing that I'm really interested in tomorrow for this game is, and we're probably not going to see much of this, but has Brent Venables learned how to make sound football decisions during a game?
We're not going to find that out.
That's what I'm thinking,
yeah.
But that's something that he needs to improve, and I think he knows that he needs to improve on that. That's why he went out and got a bunch of guys with head coaching experience to be on that staff. But that is definitely something that he needs to work on as far as timeouts, when to go for it, when not to go for it, stuff like that is kind of what I want to see improved on this season for the Sooners.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think we're going to see that tomorrow. Probably, maybe the Michigan game, depending on what that game looks like. But we're going to get the answer to that question, Preston, because I think OU is going to be in a lot of close games this season. That's it's a tough schedule.
Yeah,
we all know about it, and I do think that OU has a chance to win some of these tough games, but that doesn't mean that they're going to win by 10, 15, 20 points in these tough games. It might come down to, the last 2 minutes of the game and how do you handle the time management? How do you handle the timeouts of those games? So, yeah, that's the biggest question mark I think I have with Brent this season.
And I might let the field goal kickers kick every 50-yard field goal they get a chance to on Saturday, just to see what you have at kicker, because kicking has been quite disgusting the last couple of years in Norman for the University of Oklahoma. So let your kickers kick the football is what I'm saying in this game. Get up early and then just let the kickers get some game practice heading into week 2 against the University of Michigan. There's not really much else to sit here and kind of break down about this game because we all kind of know what's going to happen, right? I mean, if Oklahoma were to be in a dogfight against Illinois State, then that is bad signs for things to come in Norman for this season.
Yeah, I was on a phone call today with an OSU friend, and they said, "What if we lose tomorrow?" I said, "If we lose tomorrow, like it's going to get bad fast, including for myself." And I think the same goes for Oklahoma football.
Yes.
If either of these two teams drop their first game against FCS opponents, it's not going to be September 1st. And it's going to be chaos in the state.
Yes. The state will turn into the depths of hell.
And I don't want anyone to take this the wrong way, but if OSU loses tomorrow, I am the biggest Southern Illinois fan in the world because I want that. If OSU is going to go through that chaos, I want OU to join along in that chaos as well.
What a guy. How about that?
I don't mean that in a hater way. I just mean that in a sicko way.
Hey, it's sicko season, dude. It is sicko season right now as football is ramping up. All right. So the big, not primetime game, but the big game on Saturday is number 1 Texas at number 3 Ohio State. Currently, as of 2 p.m. today, Ohio State was a 1.5 point favorite in this one. Fox and YouTube TV tried to screw everyone over in the United States, or whoever has YouTube TV, because they were about to not let us watch that game because they're in a dispute. They have since reached a short-term agreement, and I say this to get this out there that we shouldn't be having any disputes as football is about to start.
It's how it goes, though. It's these TV networks, and they all make it before football season. Last year, I remember it was DirecTV with ESPN, I think, with Disney products. It's always just lined up for football season, Preston, because they know it's like, hey, Yeah, in August, you probably can get rid of Fox, and you're not going to really piss a
Yeah.
lot of people off in July. But late August and September, you lose Fox for college football and the NFL, you're going to lose a
Oh,
lot of
imagine
clients.
week 1 of NFL rolls around and that dispute was still going on and you can't
Ooh,
watch.
that'd be
We
bad.
might have had to go to New York and like take over the Fox offices or something like that.
My fear was that they were going to get it resolved like 8 a.m. on Saturday, and I would have been screwed out of watching the Baylor Auburn game on Friday night. That was my fear. I was like, I'm going to be able to watch Ohio State Texas, not worried about it. But Baylor Auburn could be in jeopardy.
That or they let it run until noon on Saturday and then immediately cut it off after big noon kickoff is over with.
Oh my gosh. Screen goes to black.
That would send the internet in just a frenzy if that were to happen. But they've reached a short-term agreement, so you will be able to watch those games. That leads into noon is the worst time to have this game because this is the biggest game of the whole entire weekend, and it's being played at noon on Saturday. Like, it's cool that it's the first game we get to watch right on Saturday. I mean, that's cool. But why does it have to be an 11 a.m. kickoff here in the Central Time Zone? Why can't this be like a 5:30, 6:30 kickoff? And I get it because it's on Fox and that's like their big thing. But Fox, we got to change something up because a 1 versus 3 shouldn't be played at 11 a.m. in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, it is Fox's primetime slot, and that sucks for the Big Ten heavily. It sucked for the Big 12 for the longest time. Oklahoma was,
they were the kings of 11 a.m.s. Yeah,
they're it was either pick your poison of Oklahoma or Ohio State playing at that time slot for 10 years, and so it's the time slot now, and the dumb football brain in me, Preston, is okay with this being 11 a.m. because of this. I'm used to watching Ohio State play at 11 a.m. in this year.
That is true.
It's normal for me. And then the night game we get, LSU Clemson, I feel like is more aesthetically pleasing on the eyes for a night game. I don't know why. It's not like the shoe is some, some not college football cathedral. It is. It's just my eyes and my dumb football brain, how I want to view it is, okay, Clemson, Death Valley versus LSU and their Death Valley at night just makes more sense to me. Although that, logistically speaking, having this game as a primetime 7 p.m. kickoff, 6:30 p.m. kickoff is obviously the right answer. But my dumb football brain is like, this is okay. I'm used to watching Ohio State 11.
Well, it's because burnt orange is the most god-awful color on the color wheel.
But the Texas All Whites, they're good. I'm sorry.
I'll give them that, but burnt orange is basically the color of like baby shit. So
this is an elite uniform matchup.
It is Ohio State taking on Texas. Yes, Arch Manning. I mean, it's the start of the Heisman campaign that everyone's already trying to give him. Do you think he will stand out above the rest in this football game Saturday?
If he does, watch out, world.
Social media is going to be ablaze, and I might have to stay off because all the takes that are going to be thrown out there.
If he goes in and throws for 2 touchdowns, 300 yards, rushes for a touchdown, 60 yards rushing or something, like absolutely just balls the hell out in his first start, I guess he started a game last year, but his first start with this as his team, he has on the road against the number 3 team, the defending national champions. If he does that, it's going to get gross among the Texas fans. Yes. And then once they inevitably get humbled at some point in the season, will be good to watch. But long term, it would not. I don't think it's going to be good for anyone involved.
100%. And then on the Ohio State side of things, I don't really know like what to expect from the Buckeyes. Obviously, they're going to be good. They've been very good under Ryan Day as their head coach. I just feel like I haven't heard much about them this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, they got that Julian Sayin is going to be the starting quarterback. They do have the 2 best players in the country with Caleb Love at safety, and then Jeremiah Smith, wide receiver. Those are, in my opinion, the two best players in college football. But outside of that, yeah, I know they're replacing a lot. They're replacing their running backs, replacing some offensive linemen,
potentially replacing their running backs.
True, Judkins. And also, Jim Knowles isn't calling defense anymore. I mean, I still expect them to have a really good defense, but they are replacing, arguably the best defense coordinator in the country.
Yeah, no, there was a reason there was a bidding war for him in the offseason between, a whole bunch of schools, Oklahoma included. So that'll be a fun game to watch. Ohio State, 1.5-point favorites in the shoe Saturday, taking on number 1 Texas. The game after that, number 8 Alabama at Florida State. Bama is a 13.5-point favorite. Florida State's only won 2 games since they got screwed out of the playoffs. I don't think they got screwed. Their quarterback got hurt. They were going to lose in the first round anyways. But they've only won, 2 games since then. Is the dog poop curse still in effect for the Seminoles?
You know what? It's either today or yesterday is the 1-year anniversary of that tweet.
That is true, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Alabama's going to win and win big.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
Florida plus all the crap that Florida State has been talking this offseason, Alabama wants to go in there and beat the hell out of them.
Yeah, well, in Alabama, they feel like they have something to prove because they went 9-3 last year, which is like, that's like OSU. Alabama's 9-3 is OSU's 3-9. Like they missed a playoff in a 12-team playoff first year after Dick Saban. DeBoer, is already wanting to get fired by the fans. They're gonna have a lot to prove in this first game. So I like Alabama a lot with that 13.5-point spread.
Yeah, 100%. If Alabama does lose, does Kalen DeBoer get the Lane Kiffin treatment and get left on the tarmac?
Not this early on, but that is a potential possibility down the road.
Yes, yeah. Castellanos is going to be the starting quarterback for Florida State, who transferred.
He's the dog shit quarterback. The guy that said he's going to eat the dog crap out of a cup. Castellanos is the one that. So maybe this all circles together or something, Preston.
Maybe it's all circling back, and Florida State will get back on track. We'll see about that. I don't have too many high hopes for them. And then the game you were just talking about a little bit ago, the nightcap, if you will, on Saturday. Number 9 LSU at number 4 Clemson. Clemson a 3.5-point favorite in this. T-Bag, can you tell me the last time LSU has won a season opener?
2019.
Yes, they have not won a season opener since 2019. That makes me feel not good for the LSU Tigers this upcoming Saturday.
And the way Brian Kelly and all them have just been talking, we have to get this first game. We have to get this first game. It's like, look, you prefer to win over losing, obviously, but if you don't get this first game, you could still, with a 12-team playoff, win a national championship.
Make a run, especially in the SEC.
Your season is not over. Like, why are they putting so much emphasis on this game? This game just screams Clemson to me. Home game for Clemson. If you go look at, pre or way too early drafts and stuff for the 2026 NFL draft, it's littered with Clemson players all over. I like Clemson a lot. I think they're going to win this game. The spread, I would lean Clemson. I wouldn't put a lock on it or anything. I wouldn't put my word on it. I lean Clemson in that spread, but I really do like Clemson to win this game. Preston, just once again, many have talked about it multiple times on this podcast. Just can't trust Brian Kelly, especially in big games. Going back to Notre Dame, big game Brian Kelly just falls on his face a lot.
Yeah, well, and throwing the thing that I've said multiple times this offseason is LSU loses a couple, that team's going to fall apart and start, infighting and stuff like that. And if they're putting that much emphasis on game one, that kind of leads me to believe that I might be right in that take of where they just might start fighting each other if they drop a couple in the first, month or two of the season. So we'll see. It does feel like Clemson is a team that's going to run away with the ACC title this season.
Yeah, if you just go and look at the ACC, I mean, I know Miami, but do we trust Miami? No. Clemson's won the ACC even in the down years that they've had. So, yeah, I think they're going to run away with this conference easily. I mean, they could lose to the two SEC opponents, and I mean, the non-conference really does not matter for Clemson
Yeah.
whatsoever. I mean, they just got to just win the ACC, which they're going to do.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it would have been like if Oklahoma and Texas were still in the Big 12, right? The non-conference wouldn't really
This
matter.
Michigan game would be,
Yeah, exactly. As long as you just win all of your conference games and win your conference title, you're in the playoffs no matter what. So, all right, and then the last game that I have on here. By the way, I thought we were getting a Monday game. We are not getting a Monday game.
We are.
Oh, we are?
TCU, North Carolina.
Not top 25 team. That's why I didn't see it. I was only looking at the top 25. Okay, so I mean, we can throw that on here then as well because I completely skipped over that. But Sunday night, number 6 Notre Dame at number 10 Miami. Notre Dame is a 2.5-point favorite. I still don't believe in Carson Beck or the University of Miami.
No way in hell do I believe in them. Mario Cristobal, I know their offense was great last year with Cam Ward. Their defense was awful.
Yeah.
Their defense was awful. Mario Cristobal still finds a way to choke down his leg.
Well, Carson Beck is nowhere close to Cam Ward. Not even the same stratosphere.
We just talked about, yes. We just talked about, too, how Brian Kelly cannot win big games. That went back to Notre Dame. Marcus Freeman so far is winning the big games at Notre Dame, and I think they're going to start this season ready to roll, and I think they do take down Miami.
Yeah, no, I think so as well. That leads me to my next point. Notre Dame has to break through eventually, right? They have to, get something done there with Marcus Freeman because I think he's a great football coach. And they have all the resources in the world there for Notre Dame. They've got all the money in the world. Eventually, they've got to get the right guys in there to win a national championship.
I think they do. I think they do. I mean, they made the national championship last year. I don't know if this year's necessarily their year. But I do think Marcus Freeman, I think he's a top 5 coach in college football right now. I feel good in saying that. He's proved a lot of us wrong along the way. And the way he was able to rebound last year after losing to Northern Illinois and then run the table, make the national championship game, beating, Penn State and who was the other team? They played Indiana, then
Indiana,
Penn State. Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia.
Georgia and then Penn State along the way to the national championship was a pretty impressive run that he had. So I don't think Notre Dame's necessarily national championship contender this year. But I do think they have a guy that's going to make Notre Dame a feared team again, especially in the big games.
No, I agree with you. And then I need to look this up. That TCU North Carolina game, I don't even know who the favorite in that one is.
I think TCU.
Oh, let's see here. I guess there's so many games. TCU's a 3.5-point favorite. That one being played in Chapel Hill. Bill Belichick's first game at North Carolina. By the way, they're trying to put a trademark on the word gold digger now. Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson are. So things are going swimmingly right now for North Carolina.
Yeah, TCU by a million. I mean, Josh Hoover, I think, is a really good quarterback. I think TCU is a Big 12 contender this year. And I mean, not saying that Bill Belichick's not going to work in college, but I just don't think that's going to be this year. I'm not high on North Carolina. And I think TCU is going to go in and take care of business on Monday night. I really do. I
saw a tweet that was quoted on the tweet where it said they were trying to trademark the word gold digger. And it said, I can't wait to watch this Netflix documentary on a plane, or binge watch this Netflix documentary on a plane in a couple of years.
No, this is a plane documentary, or the last 3-4 weeks of our lives with no sports documentary. We're I'll just throw this on real quick.
This will be the Untold Stories Netflix series where they do all the untold stories. Sports. This is going to be one of those here in 5 or 6 years. The Bill Belichick experience in college football alongside his 24-year-old hot girlfriend that he has. So that'll be interesting. But I'm on TCU. I just can't root for North Carolina. I love their colors, their uniforms, their logo. I love everything about North Carolina except for the head coach and his +1.
It's his +1 for me. That gets me. Hey, I got a game where I'm going to tell you to keep your eye on, Preston. All right? It's a wild card. Watch out for South Dakota playing in Ames, Iowa against the Iowa State Cyclones this weekend. I'm going to think Iowa State will win this game. I think they're more than likely going to win this game. But if we're talking massive upset alert, like FCS beating FBS ranked team, South Dakota, keep your eye out. Iowa State, flew back
Only
from
a
Dublin last
15-point
weekend.
favorite in that one.
Yeah, Iowa State flew back from Dublin last weekend. Just everything going to Dublin, to flying back to Ames, Iowa. The logistics behind all that. And South Dakota is, I think, the third best odds to win the FCS national championship right now. Maybe the second.
They're a powerhouse, yeah.
So they're going to be really good. And so that's just one of those games where it's like, hey, keep your eye on that one. I think that one's on Fox kind of for a reason, actually. I think the TV network's going to smell something.
2:30 on Fox on Saturday. By the way, there's a lot of confusion going around with this new ESPN thing they're rolling out, ESPN Plus, SEC Network Plus. If you have ESPN Plus, you will be able to watch the Oklahoma game, and then Oklahoma State is also on ESPN Plus. So you will be able to watch both of those games. I know me saying you're going to be able to watch the Oklahoma State game isn't going to matter because this is going to come out after, but you will be able to watch the Oklahoma game on ESPN Plus. You don't have to pay for that new subscription thing that ESPN has put out. Now, in the future, that might change, but I know as far as this weekend, you will be able to watch that game on ESPN Plus.
Weekend by weekend basis.
That's what it feels like this year, does it not? I mean, streaming has finally reached this like pinnacle where it's like, damn, do we even know what the hell is streaming on what these days? So yeah, how about I just remember this one, a nice nightcap, 10 p.m. on Fox, Utah versus UCLA.
A great nightcap. See Nico for UCLA, see what he's going to do, and then
it's Nico and a bunch of guys for UCLA because that roster is not good.
And then that's just going to be such a good one to fall asleep to on the couch and then wake up in a cold sweat at 3 a.m. and walk upstairs. It's going to be awesome.
So that's the late game on Saturday. Anything else on college football before we toss this thing to Matt Ravis and some fantasy football?
It's here, Preston Pool. I mean, OSU won 93-0 last night.
Yeah.
So,
I think they set the record actually for most points scored in a football game.
Yeah. Was Mike Gundy being disrespectful by not letting his foot off the gas?
No, I think the Oklahoma State fans needed that after last season.
Yeah, I agree. They're grown men too. They're grown men too.
Yeah,
at UT Martin.
Yeah, they're getting. Oh, I don't know about UT Martin, but they're paying these players now. We can say whatever we want, right?
They probably got like a Chipotle gift card or something.
That's more than we get sometimes at the Sports Animal. So shout out to them. All right, we're gonna go ahead and toss it to Matt Ravis joining us talking fantasy football. All right, we welcome in a very special guest, a colleague of ours, a good friend of ours, Matt Ravis of The Drive, weekdays on the Sports Animal 9 to noon. We're going to talk a little fantasy football as the NFL season starts, less than a week from today, because this will be Friday when this is coming out. A week from my Chargers taking on the Chiefs down in Brazil, a game that I don't think anyone wants to go down to Brazil to play, but they're going to do it anyways. And it's also coming out Friday, a day after Oklahoma State plays UT Martin. So, guys, I wanted to get maybe like look into the future. I think my first take is I think this is the first time we might have a split Heisman between Haas Haney and Zane Flores after last night's game. So I just didn't know if you guys had any instant reactions from the Oklahoma State game tomorrow, but last night.
Is it too early to start booking trips to wherever the national championship is, Preston?
No, I don't think I don't think it's ever too early.
And Preston
Heisman in half, or how's that going to work?
Well, so they are made in Del City, so maybe we can make two of those and get two of those sent to Stillwater.
The Heismans are made in Del City?
Yeah,
that's true.
That's
actually,
awesome.
They are.
That's awesome. I think I've heard that, but you reminded me, and that's awesome.
So yeah, we're all
a Del City joke. That could have been bad. I'll bite my tongue on that one.
We're all three. I think we can comfortably say that Oklahoma State won last night against UT Martin. I think that is easy for us to say. And then Oklahoma obviously plays tomorrow against Illinois State in Norman. But let's get to some fantasy football. Obviously, I go on with Matt every week on the drive to talk some fantasy football. So I wanted to have him on to not really talk about drafting much, because I feel like we've done that a lot recently, and by this time most people have already had their drafts. But I want to talk to you about some players this year, and maybe like their outlooks, or maybe how you're feeling on those players. So I want to start with the quarterbacks, Matt. The last 2 years we've had rookie quarterbacks, CJ Stroud, Jaden Daniels, who have came into the NFL and played great, right?
Yep.
Should we be on Cam Ward watch this season for the Tennessee Titans?
I am on Cam Ward watch. I think he's got one of the best skills that you can have as a quarterback, which is the ability to like regulate yourself emotionally. Like, I don't know if he reacts differently ever. I mean, he obviously wants to win. He's crazy competitive, but I think there's something with him. And then all of a sudden, if he does break through, then start to talk about some of the receivers for the Tennessee Titans. And when Will Levis was throwing them footballs, or loosely could be called as throwing them, there wasn't much to talk about there.
Okay, so I was telling you this earlier on the drive. My roommate, after me and Preston recorded, I went downstairs, and my roommate had a couple buddies over for their fantasy league that they're in. And I was looking at everyone's screens, and everyone thinks I'm like some fantasy expert just because I work for the Sports Animal. And I'm trying to make it very clear. The one guy who was my guy, Preston knows this is my guy, is Matt Stafford. Where would you be comfortable if you're talking like 9th, 10th, 11th round, in that ballpark? Would you be comfortable taking Matt Stafford even with the injury stuff this year?
It just scares me so much. He's crazy talented. We all know how talented he is. And he's got Devontae Adams there now, along with Puka Nacua. And he's got Kyron Williams in the backfield. They're going to be able to run the ball well enough to keep defenses honest. But there's just so many guys because of the injuries, because I think it's almost practically guaranteed he's going to miss some time, some point this year. It just makes me scared off of the whole thing, really. So I'm not saying that I wouldn't draft him, but like I would take CJ Stroud over. I would take JJ McCarthy over Matt Stafford, just because I'm not scared. Now, best case scenario, you're going to get a really good quarterback, but I think there's safer options. I do.
Well, and if you're taking a quarterback that late, I mean, CJ Stroud is going to be in, and not necessarily like the 10th or 11th round, but he's going to be later in your draft. You can pick up a guy like CJ Stroud.
Yeah, just know me, Preston. I can't quit Matt Stafford.
Yeah, no, he's a Matt Stafford stan. So,
First ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, no question about it.
So I mentioned Jaden Daniels earlier. Do we think he can replicate / improve on his season last year? Obviously took the Commanders to the NFC Championship game.
Right.
Is there a way in your mind that he can exceed what he did last season?
He's being drafted not based on what he did last year, although obviously you have to have the production last year. You got to show the proof of concept, right? But I think he's being drafted for like where his ceiling is, and so I found myself, Preston, like not getting him very much, not because I don't believe in him. Huge believer in Jaden Daniels, and I don't buy the sophomore slump with him. There's just a lot for him to live up on that end. And so that's why, I find myself getting Lamar Jackson more and Jalen Hurts more, but he's like right in that tier with those guys, Allen Jackson, Jaden Daniels. I think that's like those are the rushing quarterbacks going first. Then it's usually Burrow, then it's Mahomes. It's usually how it kind of falls in line. So if he does exceed what he did last year, he will live up to his billing.
Yeah.
If it's kind of the same as he did last year, like there might be better bets for you at the quarterback position to draft.
So this be my last quarterback question for you. It's another guy I'm intrigued with for drafting for fantasy purposes. It's Justin Fields.
Yes.
I think the Jets are going to be a primarily run the ball team this year because we've seen Justin Fields play football. Not the world's best passer, but he can run the football. That's for sure. So where do you have him kind of ranked for fantasy points only? Just in that quarterback tier.
Yeah, I'm glad you clarified that because you guys both know this being of the wagering sort. Like sometimes there's bets you got to take up to the counter that like you might be holding your nose on. Like it might not feel very good to do it. And I think that's the pick of Justin Fields, but his running ability and the fact that That's just kind of his job. I don't think they really care to win a whole bunch of games. It makes me lower on Breece Hall, but I'm still extremely high on Justin Fields. And I think people forget sometimes that it is fantasy football, not real football you're playing. I wouldn't trust real football Justin Fields farther than I can throw him, but fantasy football, wherever you're drafting him, I think he's going to live up to his value and then some.
I think he's going to put up numbers in fantasy this year.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
when he was, not to bring everything back to the Bears like I love to do, but when he was with the Bears in 2022, kind of his breakout year, if you want to call it, he was a great fantasy quarterback. Because he was rushing for a touchdown almost every game and getting 80, 100 yards rushing pretty consistently. So I think we might see that with him this year because the Jets know that's what they have to do if they're going to want to get points on the board.
He came out week 1 and toted the ball 14 times. It's like, okay, well, this is how it's going to be with Justin Fields this year.
Yeah, he's around like, I don't know, 12 to 15 somewhere, quarterback ranking wise, depending on who you look at and all that. So, all right, my last quarterback question for you. We are going to talk about the Bears. Is Caleb Williams a viable fantasy quarterback this year with Ben Johnson? You still got the wide receivers, Colston Loveland at tight end there. What's your thoughts on Caleb Williams heading into this fantasy football season?
It's hard for me to square, and Tyler probably, he definitely knows what I'm saying here. It just feels like anybody who plays quarterback for that team is going to be set up to fail somehow, some way. Maybe this is different. And that's not that, by the way, that's not a rational thought whatsoever. That's irrational. Just because you're a Chicago Bear doesn't mean you have anything to do with the past players, but he's got the weapons around him. I think that the fact that he is a gunslinger is great for fantasy. That means, the interceptions that he's going to throw. And he only had 2 multi-interception games last year. I think he's probably going to have a couple of those this year, but that doesn't matter as much for fantasy. So
I want him to.
Yeah, because that means he's in and out, right?
Because Caleb is what he did in college at OU and USC. He was so good at going off script. And I know you can't replicate that in the NFL like you can in the Big 12 or the former Pac-12 like he was doing. But that is what Caleb Williams' style is, and I'm okay with him taking risk if that leads to interceptions.
What's your feeling on the offensive line? Because that's going to help me figure out how I feel about Caleb Williams this year.
Good interior, really good interior. Okay at the tackle position. I know they're going through – I know there's like a right tackle dilemma right now. But, I was looking the other day. PFF has them ranked 4 as offensive line.
Yeah.
So – I'm optimistic, but I'm just complete wait and see. Just like OU and OSU football, I'm just a wait and see.
I would draft Justin Fields over Caleb Williams if that helps answer your question, Preston. I think I would.
Yeah. Okay. So wide receivers this year, obviously, we all know, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, all these guys are going to be the first ones off the board. Are you worried at all about Justin Jefferson and the quarterback situation for the Minnesota Vikings?
Yeah, he definitely takes a bit of a discount because of that. He is quarterback proof to a degree, but like when you talk about that, I think when you say quarterback proof, usually people mean like there's a floor there. And it makes sense because he's so talented, but like, is the upside going to be there? I don't think it's going to be there the way that it is with Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow and all that chemistry that they have. So I'm not shying away from Justin Jefferson in the first half of the first round, but I would take Chase over him. I would take Bijan Robinson over him. I would take CeeDee Lamb over him. That's kind of where I'm at on Justin Jefferson right now.
What kind of season are you expecting from Christian McCaffrey this year? Are you expecting a bounce back? Like, would you take him in the first round if he's there?
I have in some leagues, just because I can't quit the guy. But it's like back half of the first round, and really you're just betting on his health, which you can't predict that. It's been like 2 of the last 5 years he's had smash seasons, I think it is, and then 3 of those have been hurt. It's kind of been an every or thing. Remember, guys, he came into last year with the injury, and then we thought he was going to be ready, and he's not ready, and then you wait and wait and wait. And he comes back because he feels like he needs to, and he's not right. Like, it's not that way this year. So I would be fine betting on Christian McCaffrey because when he's right, he's the best offensive player in football. And also Trent Williams needs to be healthy too. But their receiver situation is horrible. Mm-hmm. So I think Christian McCaffrey is going to get just like a ton of work. The Brian Robinson thing, though, Preston, worries me just a little bit because they didn't trade for him to not give him the ball. So, like, obviously that's to take some of the load off of McCaffrey.
Yeah, I mean, and Robinson was what the leading rusher outside of Jaden Daniels for the Commanders last season. So, yeah, they didn't just trade for him to have him sit there in case Christian McCaffrey gets banged up. So, CeeDee Lamb, do you think his production takes a hit with the addition of George Pickens on the Cowboys?
No, I don't. I mean, maybe maybe a couple fewer targets, but I think the upside of having that guy opposite him will help. So
it just feels like the Cowboys, since CeeDee Lamb has been there, haven't had a guy like George Pickens opposite of CeeDee Lamb.
That worries me too. That dynamic, like, 'cause there's got to be a game where CeeDee gets all the targets and Pickens doesn't, and he's going to be upset. So I think those things, those can be tough to predict. It can go either or. I think a good example of that, Preston, is your own team, the Chargers, with Ladd McConkey and then Keenan Allen. Like, I know Keenan Allen is kind of older and a husk of himself, but you don't think he's going to get any targets? Like, you don't think he's going to take any targets away from Ladd McConkey? I could see that situation too, but it tends to happen where those guys can help each other raise each other's ceilings too.
The thing that always, I don't want to say screws me over in fantasy, but I feel like I am just in my head about it. I don't know how to draft this position properly, and that's tight end.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah.
I overthink it, and
I don't think anybody knows how to, honestly.
I'll draft too early, or I'll be like, all right, I'm going to wait, and the next thing I know, I got a primarily blocking tight end. That's not going to get me a whole lot of points. So what's your tight end philosophy?
I usually find myself waiting. This year's interesting because I think Bowers absolutely lives up to where he's getting drafted. Yeah. Trey McBride, even though he is I think he's the highest paid tight end in football. I know he just got that big extension. He's not a household name, but he's like every bit worth drafting up high. George Kittle. I think Kelsey's probably going to have a good year, especially with the Rashee Rice suspension. He's going to get off to a good start. So I think it's just about not reaching on one would be the biggest piece of advice I have. And then the other thing is, like, I don't know if you can draft a quarterback and a tight end early and have all the depth that you need. Like, I think you got to kind of pick one or the other. But such a crapshoot that whole position is. I mean, it's so hard.
I think guys like Tyler Warren in Indianapolis, I think he's going to be productive. You can get him later in the draft. And some other guys I'm blanking on right now. So I'm
a fan of Kincaid, of Jake Ferguson from Dallas, of Tucker Kraft.
Loveland. I think Colson Loveland's got to take a flyer on. Now he's not going to get. I think he'll get a good amount of targets, but he also has Cole Kmet in that tight end room, and then obviously Luther Burden, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. I mean, there's a lot of targets for Caleb Williams to have, but I think Colson Loveland, later in the draft is.
I used to shy off on the young guys, and then it's just been so undeniable. Like with Sam Laporta coming in and doing what he did, Dalton Kincaid, and then last year Brock Bowers. It's like these guys are so talented by the time they get into the NFL that I don't. They used to be never take a rookie tight end because it's going to take them time, and that still holds true sometimes. But there are guys who are breaking through more and more.
Yeah, that's why I took Loveland and Warren in our Sports Animal Dynasty draft because at least one of those will probably hit. So we'll see.
Can't miss on both.
Ashton Genty, will he be a top 3 running back after it's all said and done this season?
Top 3 running back.
I mean, he's being drafted right now as like RB 5 somewhere in there. Do you think he has what it takes to get up into the top 3?
Bijan Robinson is finishing ahead of him if he's healthy. Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon coming off of a tremendous season. I already told you how I feel about Christian McCaffrey. I'm running out of room here. But I don't want to come across as a doubter of Ashton Genty either. But I'm going to say no on that, just barely.
Where you at with Derrick Henry this year?
Derrick Henry is still old reliable. At some point, it's like, okay, do we also have to fall off of him? Maybe. Early, right? They do, especially with all those carries. But he just might be built different. Like he just might be that way. And in that offense too, I expect another monster season from him. So I think you could do worse than Derrick Henry as your first running back for sure.
And a lot of people are forgetting that Adam Sandler promised him a role in a movie if he got 2,000 yards. So just remember that when it comes to Derrick Henry. And
is it a good Adam Sandler movie or a bad Adam Sandler movie? Because there's a big difference between those two. He did bad Adam Sandler movies.
Maybe Happy Gilmore 3. I don't know.
We'll
have to wait.
Ryder Cup edition.
Yeah. There we go. Just put Derrick Henry in there, shoehorn him in there.
Do you feel like Kyron Williams is kind of slept on because he's to me, I've had him on one of my dynasty teams for the last couple of years. He's just like a touchdown machine inside the 5-yard line.
Yeah, the red zone. He's had back-to-back top 10 finishes, and Preston, people like don't talk about him that way. I guess because like I know this off the top of my head, but his yards per carry isn't as high as some other guys, and maybe that's part of it. Some ball security stuff too, but they just paid him, so I don't see any reason why he can't. Yeah, he finished RB2 and RB8 in half-point PPR fantasy leagues the last 2 years. I don't see why he can't, repeat what he's done.
Where are you at this year on Tyreek Hill? Because I mean, it seems like there's drama going around all fall or all throughout training camp, and last year not the most productive season for his standards. So where are you at with him this year?
Well, I'm lower. Jalen Waddle has to stay healthy. I think this could be the year that he kind of passes up Tyreek Hill in that depth chart because of what you said with the chemistry stuff, and he's just getting older. He's kind of declining. He's just not the game breaker that he used to be. He's not, worth passing up on too late in the draft. He's getting drafted as a wide receiver 13. That's probably about right. But like I said, I think Jalen Waddle kind of takes that step and goes over the top of him this year.
Yeah, and the other biggest thing is Tua needs to be healthy for a full season too. There in Miami. So
because Tua was hurt, and then he drops off. But when those guys played together last year for just a little bit, they were really good.
I mean, they scored like 70 points in a game. I don't think it was last year, but the year before. So like the offense is there when they're all healthy. They need to be healthy. Outside of Ashton Genty, which rookie running back do you think will stand out the most this season?
You're just trying to get me to talk about Omarion Hampton, aren't you? Look at
that. Travion, was it Henderson with the Patriots? Just some of those guys.
It really is Hampton though. Like I'm not joking. I think he's a stud. It does hurt that Rashawn Slater got hurt. But the offensive line is still good enough. Henderson is like he could fly, and you've seen that in college and already in the preseason. And maybe this is another one of those irrational worries. Guys, the Patriots, when do they ever have a workhorse running back? Like when do they ever have just like one guy that they trust? And I know it's a new coach and all that, but I think about things like that. I'm really high on RJ Harvey for Denver too. I know he's been lower on the depth chart, but I think we've learned over the last week too, these depth charts are fictitious. So I think RJ Harvey is going to be a difference maker for Denver too. I like the rookie running backs. I didn't even mention Caleb Johnson. By the way, what's going to happen with Quinshon Judkins? People are drafting him.
I drafted him in our Sports Animal Dynasty League, and now come to find out like he might go and play back in college this season.
So that would be awesome. It would also just make. I mean, that you want to talk about it falling domino. Yeah. If he goes back to college and then players like, wait, who can tell me I can't go back to college and make money and go get an education or whatever?
Maybe at noon on Saturday, we hear like a bell ring in the horseshoe up in Columbus, and Judkins just comes running out of the locker room.
WWE entrance.
Yeah.
Okay, Matt, there's an interesting guy that we haven't talked about yet. Talk about Heisman winners, Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Because you feel like you want to take him fairly high. I'm not saying he's a top 3 round guy. Maybe he has some. But, he kind of feels like he's one of those guys where it's a risk, but the risk could be a big reward if he is Trevor Lawrence's best friend on the opposite side of the football.
His talent is incredible. It really like here's like the big lens through which I view fantasy football. It's like you got your talent, you got your opportunity, and when talent meets opportunity, that's when you get the smash hits. I know the talent is there, but what's the opportunity going to be? In way of like, how many offensive snaps is he going to play? That's what makes him a risky pick, but that's like a lottery ticket type of situation too, because if you hit on him, you are going to smash because of that. So I like drafting guys like that back because it's easy to go the safe route. Going the safe route, I don't think wins you fantasy leagues. It might win you some games. Mm-hmm. I think Travis Hunter, if he hits, could be a league winner. You can't depend on that, but that's why you're getting him where you're getting him too.
The last question I have for you: are you worried much about Amon-Ra St. Brown and the whole new offensive coordinator stuff going on there in Detroit, because that's a guy that's getting drafted easily in the first round.
I do worry about it. I mean, especially you lose a guy like Ben Johnson, that's going to be tough. And he's just so consistent. He and Jared Goff have such a great connection, so I wouldn't worry about it. Maybe you need to manage your expectations a little bit compared to what he's been in that offense, but I'm just I have so much confidence in him, maybe more so than anybody else, that wherever they're getting drafted, for him to deliver on that. He's getting drafted at wide receiver 4, back half of round 1. Like I think that's about one of the safest and best picks you could make.
Yeah.
Good combination of floor and upside.
My last question for you, Matt. Now, this is a big one. I've been holding on to this.
Okay.
Is this the year of Kyle Pitts? Is this the year that you take Kyle Pitts and he's going to prove all the haters and all the doubters wrong?
This is a Kyle Pitts podcast, so watch what you say, man.
No, I'm sorry. He's one of those guys who has burned me too many times.
Yes.
Now that said, that's not a valid reason to not draft a guy. But he's going late in terms of tight end, so I guess there's probably worse flyers you could take. I guess due to the Michael Penix situation could change some dynamics. Like maybe there's a different variable there, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I think the rookie season was the aberration, and that's the best season he's going to have.
Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. I still say they're not using him the right way, even though they are, and he just isn't any good. But
maybe they need to trade him. Like certain guys need different teams, different places to flourish. So
I wouldn't mind him being like the backup in Los Angeles. That would be fine with me. So maybe I can work that out. So
I want it to be Kyle Pitts' breakout year so bad. I really do, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
I think America does.
Yeah,
he's America's tight end. He's just
like,
not any good.
Unless it's in the playoffs or has playoff implications. If I lose a week because of Kyle Pitts, I don't know if I'd be that mad. I'd be like,
I've lost so many weeks because of Kyle Pitts. They're looking at a stupid donut on my starting lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, 0 targets, 0 receptions. Yes,
like waste
that's
of
the Kyle Pitts. Well, thank you so much, Matt. We really appreciate it. It was fun to sit here and talk some ball with you, and I can't wait for the NFL to start and fantasy football to get rolling.
I got really excited to come on when T-Bag told me I could cuss on the podcast, and I didn't even take an opportunity to do it. I didn't even do it.
Maybe next time we can get you.
If you need to come on at all during this football season and just rant and let some takes out with some cuss words, we're always available.
I might need to, or Preston and I might need to rant about Gideon. Actually, you too. Us three. I'm
already getting the sarcastic text from Gideon. I'm already getting it.
They won't ever stop, by the way.
Yeah.
They don't ever, for sure. But all right, well, Matt, we will talk to you next time, man.
Yes, sir.
See you, Ravis.
Later.
All right. Big shout out to Matt Ravis for joining us to talk some fantasy football. It's time. Football is here. NFL around the corner. College football all weekend. I can't wait. And then we got high school football as well next week too here in the state of Oklahoma. What a glorious time to be alive, T-Bag.
It's the best time. This weather we have too. I mean, I know the rain can poo-poo on people's parade.
Yeah.
But we could also have 103 degrees right now.
We could, yes.
Heat strokes all everywhere. So be grateful for what we have. It feels like fall outside. It smells like fall outside. It just being at the tailgates and stuff and smelling all the grills. Chef's kiss.
Yes.
Life is once again good, Preston. Football is
back. It is. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you guys. Follow us on X at UnadvisedPod, at Tyler's Takes, at PrestonPool405. Again, remember, win or lose, we booze. So have a good time this weekend on whatever campus you're going to be on, wherever you're at in the country. Have a good time. Enjoy some football. We'll see you next time.